Hello, Admiral Thrawn here, making the final units preview video for the upcoming submod Age of Petty Kings. This is a submod that takes place for Westeros Total War, thousands of years before the Game of Thrones saga, when Westeros was divided into multiple tiny kingdoms. So I'm showing off in this video the mercenaries that you can hire for your armies, and so that includes both the regular sellswords as well as the Faith Militants forces you can hire out as well. So in terms of the sellswords, the way that I'm handling them is they can be recruited through just buying them when you march around your armies, and they include they're basically use mostly Andal technology. They have long pikes, they have crossbows, and catch shields. However, they can be hired by anyone, which makes it really, really important for the First Men factions to hire out these sellswords. Just because it sort of closes the technology gap a little bit. Because many First Men factions, like the Blackwoods here, they don't have long pikes, they use regular old bows. And while the longbowmen are awesome, the crossbows are still very useful. So basically the First Men sort of will be relying on sellswords to close the technology gap. Sellswords also have free riders, which are useful. They don't fulfill a terribly specific purpose, but they're better than outriders that factions can normally train, and yeah, they're useful to hire. On the campaign map, the upkeep cost for sellswords will basically be very, very high. So sellswords are useful if you want to sort of burgeon your armies before a battle or whatnot, or if you're far from home and you have limited recruitment options. But at the same time, relying on them for your entire army will be very expensive. So maybe the Hightowers could handle it, or the Gardeners, but otherwise it would be difficult. Just because the upkeep costs are about half of the recruitment costs, so very, very high. Because you have to keep paying them, or else they leave. They're sellswords, I mean, come on. And then for the Faith Militant, these guys can obviously only be hired by Andal factions who have, accepted the Faith. And they include the two different orders, the Warrior Sons and the Poor Fellows. Now, the Poor Fellows, they're sort of the rank and file of the Faith Militant. They're everyday blokes and septons and whatnot who basically took up arms for the Faith. They have swords, shields. They're known as the Stars for their sigil being the seven-pointed star. And they're basically, they're sort of they're the rank and file. They're the cannon fodder. They have very good morale, but they have very poor armor, poor training, so they aren't terribly deadly. But if you want to have some expendable troops hold off the enemy, these are the guys to go for it. Then finally, there's the swords, the Warrior Sons. These guys are the badasses. Their sigil is the Rainbow Sword, and they are knights who have taken up the service of the Faith and all that. These guys are basically total badasses, and you don't want to mess with them. So basically what it is whenever a knight sort of gets bored serving some random lord or whatnot, and wants to do something with his life, he'll basically he'll swear a vow of chastity, give up his lands, and join the Warrior Sons. And so these guys here are the elite sellswords that you can hire for your armies. So yeah, that's about it for the sellswords that you can hire. Yeah, Age of Petty Kings should release relatively soon, hopefully. And yeah, Admiral Thrawn signing off.